It's one of the most visited homes in southern Utah. Brigham Young's winter home in St. George was preserved by the Historic Preservation Commission. It's now part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints tours. Families from across the country stop through here as part of Utah's Pioneer Day celebration.
We're over here visiting St. George, and we wanted our kids to see some of the historical sites of St. George from the pioneers. We went to one of the temples over here, and now we're about to go to the other temple and go around and see some other sites. But just showing them some of the history of our heritage, yeah.
Located just a few short blocks from the tabernacle, this two-story home, built back in the late 1800s, pays tribute to the man responsible for bringing 309 families of the church to southern Utah to establish a settlement and raise cotton.
It was called the Cotton Mission. He wanted them to raise cotton and see if they could get a cotton industry down here. He knew the Civil War was going to be starting, and they wouldn't be able to get fabric, cotton. And so he thought that he had been down here and thought that this area would be a great place to raise cotton.
Brigham Young came from a large family, and many may not know that the Mormon pioneer had little schooling.
He was born in 1801 in Vermont. He was the 9th of 11 children. Big family, very poor family. He only had 11 days of formal education. How would you like that? 11 days.
As they venture further inside, they hear the stories of Brigham Young, who purchased this as a winter home for he and his wife, Amelia.
Amelia was a beautiful musician. She played the piano, she sang.
Later, Young built onto the home, more than doubling the size. While living here, he administered to the church, including overseeing the construction of the St. George Temple. Today, this historic site is open year-round. Much of the furniture inside reflects the 1870s, where Brigham Young lived out his last days until 1877. Those who celebrate Pioneer Day in Utah, sometimes referred to as the Days of 47, use the time to reflect and remember their heritage to pass on to their children.
We're legacy pioneer family. We have a lot of relatives who came to Utah by crossing the plains, and a lot of the communities are doing less, I think, for Pioneer Day, and we felt like, well, we better go do something with our kids. Our community celebrations kind of diminished, and we want them to still have a feel for their heritage and how this area came to be prosperous, and the people who led to the prosperity we now enjoy here.
The cotton that is grown here today is a reminder of the tough life that the pioneers endured.
Great heritage, a lot of work. They went hungry, they suffered a lot when they got here.
Utah celebrates its pioneer heritage on July 24th each year to commemorate their ancestors' hard work and perseverance, or grit, to carry on the traditions and faith.
I love the pioneer heritage that I come from. It helps ground me into who I really am, especially as a follower of Christ, and seeing what my ancestors went through and what the pioneers went through and what they were willing to give up and go through to keep their faith and to keep their covenants, and seeing that I can teach my children the same thing, that they can do hard things and they can give up things in order to follow Christ, and that's a huge thing to have that example from the pioneers.
And just remembering our pioneer ancestors and thinking about how good our life is because of, how poor sometimes their life was and the sacrifices they had to make.
My pioneer heritage is very important to me.
In St. George, Melissa Anderson, Community Education News.